And drumroll, we're back on a. That's the spiel. We're back on a. That's it. We're not back on a Friday.
I don't know what you're talking about. Oh yeah, so it's Friday. TGIF. Thank
TGIF.
God. It's Friday. Um Welcome back to the Legends Clubhouse. I am Bobby Kaboose. As always, this is
Lawson Turner.
see, you finally got it. God. I didn't
Someone's
know
got to
who it
get it.
was because you didn't I didn't know who it was because you didn't have your glasses on.
I got my glasses now, so I'm in character.
Yeah, so it's finally game time, right?
It is finally game
Um
time. Yeah.
it's Friday.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what we're gonna talk about. Probably
Well,
football?
I,
Sure. I
I,
don't know.
I was gonna say we can start there. We can start about the game last night, and then there's some craziness gonna happen over the weekend when it comes to baseball ins and outs and stuff like that we can get into. But I don't know if you watched last night's game.
I did not.
You did not miss much. The Arizona Cardinals, and they ended up making a game out of it late. But Marvin Harrison, especially over the course of the first half and a little bit into the third quarter, I don't know how high you were when he was coming out of college, or how high you were on him when he was coming out 2 years ago. Uh, but for the first half and over the course of the first couple games this season, it looked like he was a bust, like he was broken, like he gave up on a route that led to the first Kyler interception last night, and then he had a ball hit right off his hands, flip back up that led to Kyler's second pick. Now he did have a sweet touchdown catch and multiple clutch catches in the game tying drive. And even after his touchdown catch, he took a knee, and it almost looked as if he was sobbing, like it's an emotional. Because if anyone needed any kind of confidence, it would be him. I could see like
Yeah.
Brian Thomas Jr. after he has a breakout game this season, because through the first couple weeks he's been another high target, low catch, player. But with the talent that these receivers are having nowadays, it just takes one good game to get their swagger back per se.
Well, Marvin Harrison Jr. hit my over, so he's cool in my book. I think I had him over what 45 and a half receiving yards,
Whatever it was.
and last time I checked, I think he hit like 60. So
Mhm.
thank you, Marvin Harrison Jr. I almost put some on him getting a touchdown too, but I wasn't that ballsy.
Mhm.
Instead I took my Tigers to win and not get swept, so that was nice too. So I had a little bit of a profitable night last night,
Mhm.
without watching the football game. So,
Yeah.
um, but yeah, yeah, Marvin Harrison, dude. Like I drafted him into my dynasty fantasy league. I think I had like the third pick or something that year. Because I think there was maybe two quarter. Yeah, Caleb and maybe Jaden Daniels were like the 1, 2, and then I picked him.
Mhm.
And yeah, dude. So I was offered like someone offered me like two maybe 2 or 3 first round picks. Like, they offered me like 5 draft picks for him, and I was like, no, like he's supposed to be like a generational fucking receiver.
Mhm.
I will keep him for the time being. And even last year during his rookie season, I think someone offered me like 2 draft picks and a player for him, and I was like, no, I'm gonna stick it out with him. Um, again, just probably need some confidence, and
Mhm.
we'll get back on track, man.
Yeah.
Him and Kyler, it got to get something going, and you know, we'll see.
There are
They'll be all right.
I I think so too. In the long run, when you have a player and a quarterback as dynamic as Kyler Murray is, and Marvin Harrison, when you just talk about measurables, height, hands, his ability to play balls in the air, a lot of the things that he did at the Ohio State that made him as
Hmm.
this almost can't miss
Better see for you, man.
dude. And Jeremiah Smith's coming up. Not I think he'll come out not this year, but next year. But he's a freak too. Like
Yeah,
you got him, Marvin Harrison, Chris Olave. Like you got a lot of these Garrett Wilson. You got a lot of these super stud receivers, especially coming out of the Ohio State, because there was always the argument of what's DB University to wide receiver university between Ohio State and LSU, and it seems as if they're neck and neck. I think that the higher end talent came out of LSU is coming out of LSU, but for Ohio State, it really Ohio State's just got the what's the word I want to look for? Just a consistent, B plus A minus
A
players coming out, huh?
a factory for wide receivers, dude. So
It's
you,
nuts.
if I was if I was an NFL GM, which
Mm-hmm.
I should be, because I just won a Super Bowl with Mac Jones as my quarterback on the Raiders, to retire Matt Stafford. So yes, I should be an NFL GM.
Mm-hmm.
But all I would do is, this would be my draft strategy. I draft Ohio State receivers, I draft Iowa tight ends, and I draft Georgia defensive players, and that's it. And then my team would be awesome.
Dude, it seems as if those
And an
three,
Oklahoma back.
dude. Once again, it seems as if those four schools genuinely they are it literally doesn't matter the position. If you need defense, whoever's available from Georgia, they all. It's almost as if because there was a stigma around Alabama players for so long, especially on the defensive side. It's where like where if you were to draft them, how much better are they going to be because they're already so well? Because Nick Saban has coached and squeezed almost
Mhm.
every juice out of the fruit. Now you're seeing players from Georgia like um, Jalen Carter was excellent at Georgia. He was excellent his rookie year. And he's just continued to build off of that into this year when he's not spitting on people, but he's a freak. Jordan Davis is a freak. Roquan Smith's a freak. Like they've always just been a defensive minded school, and I think they have a really speaking of Alabama and UGA, they're playing this weekend, so that'll be super interesting
Mhm.
to see.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. And like I said, man, you just pick like certain schools and you just go with those positions, man. Like how hard can a GM be? And then, you could throw in like, possibly being like an Alabama running back. Like,
Hmm.
they seem to come out a lot. Michigan offensive lineman, maybe. Maybe under Harbaugh, yes, maybe under the new regime, maybe not, but
Hmm.
certain schools are just known. It seems to be just known for shit. So just do that. Like look at the Eagles. They might as well be the fucking Philadelphia Eagles in parentheses Georgia Bulldogs defense.
Dude,
Like every year
for real.
they get whether it's Jalen Carter, Jordan Davis,
Kaylee
don't they have
Ringo.
don't they have N'Kobe Dean too?
Hmm.
Isn't he in Georgia? Yeah,
Yep.
like I mean, it's crazy.
Yeah. Now, before we could go on and on. Let me tell you about this bad beat my boy had.
Ooh,
Betting wise, since you talked
we
about your
love bad
slate.
beats. Or well, we don't love bad beats, but we love hearing about bad beats.
Yeah. So he had Kyler Murray over 31 and a half pass attempts. He had 41. Sam Darnold over 224 passing yards. He had 240. Marvin Harrison Jr. over 3.5 receptions. He had 6. Cooper Kupp over 3.5 catches. He had 4. He had Trey Benson over 19.5 receiving yards. The running back ended with 19 on the dot receiving yards. And I'm
Well,
like,
it's something like Sam Darnold didn't get the over either.
yeah, he did. He hit
Oh,
242 over 225. But yeah, like,
okay. Right.
mm,
Was there something else that missed or no? Was it just that 19?
just the
It
19.
was like what, a 5 or 6 leg parlay?
Yeah, it was 10 to win like 100 something light. Oh, but speaking of bad beats, that just reminded me of one. Our mutual boy sent me his slip, and he just sent me a screenshot of what didn't hit, so I didn't see what all didn't. But
Mhm.
he had Marvin Harrison receiving, Chad Ryland field goals made, and there the kicker in Arizona, that Chad Ryland kid, he has a hell of a leg. Like
Mhm.
he's ridiculous. He had Sam Darnold passing, and I obviously see that's not the end of the slip, but everything else hit besides Kyler Murray passing. He had 200 on the dot as opposed to 216 and a half. And I said, "Damn, did you hear about our friend's slip?" He said, "Mine was 50 for 1,500." And I said, "Oh damn." He said, "I don't give a fuck about our friend's 90 flipping 10 to 100. Mine was 50 for 1,500."
Yeah,
And once again, we hate bad beats, but we love hearing about them because it's like, damn, we've all been
yeah,
there,
yeah. We definitely,
dude.
especially with betting Euro basketball unders, and when a team's down by 40, yet they score again, or they don't just run out the clock at the end. Um, and
Mm.
for some reason they shoot a layup or some shit at the end. You're like, cool. Or shooting free throws, like, why did you foul them? You're up by 40, and
Just let them
then you
have it.
lose by
Yeah.
whatever. But um, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
dude, bad beats are very frustrating when they happen to you. But
Mm-hmm.
it's kind of a sign of relief when they happen to others, because you're like, all right, at least I'm not the only one.
Oh, you're
Um,
never just the only one. There's a
yeah. Well,
million bad beats out there.
my one of my buddies has a bet to win $2,600 if Cleveland wins the division.
Ooh, that's kind of a
So
sweat.
yeah, the other day, what was it? Tuesday? Yeah, Tuesday I recorded the podcast, so yeah, I found out Tuesday that his cash out option was like $900, and
If you don't mind,
don't know. I think they're riding it out, but
uh huh.
they didn't from. I didn't hear it directly from him, so
Yeah, you
it was a
heard.
mutual friend
Hmm.
that told me. But because I believe I know what your question is how much he put down for it.
I was just about
Um,
to ask, what was the
Not much.
original? Hmm.
It was not much because he did it a couple weeks ago. And yeah, he got it was less than $100 to win $2,600.
Yeah,
So
it's a pretty nice turnaround. I remember,
yeah.
I remember Thanksgiving weekend, a week of last NFL season. You know how I'll have, I'm sure everyone does this. They'll have like their lock slip, and then they'll have like a lotto lay where you put five on every game to win whatever it was, right? I
Yeah.
remember I swept Sunday, and I'm not in a state where you can where those sports books are available. So I had one of my boys
Mhm.
place it for me, and then it was even more funny because it came down to the Broncos and the Browns game on Monday Night Football in Mile High. And when I tell you all day, I'm hitting people up my dog, because my cash out total would have been at like $1,900 or something like that. But if I would
Mhm.
have let it ride, it was like 2,900 or something like
Yeah.
that. And the whole day they're like, "Yo, Lawson, would are you gonna cash them out? Whatever the case may be." I said, "You know what? It's a $5 bet and a 25. It's a it's a $5 bet and a $25 bet. I'm just gonna let it ride." And they're like, "No, it's now a $1,900 bet because you have the
Yeah.
cash out right here." And I'm like, y'all called me a madman. And I said, "Y'all laugh at me now. Be going to the bank later." And I remember that was one of the sweatiest games of my life. Like it ended like 48-35, because that was the game Jerry Judy went for like 200 yards and Jameis threw for almost 500 passing yards and 5 TDs and 2 picks. And
Just went off.
dude, I will never forget, the Broncos took the lead with like a little over 2 minutes left, and Jameis's last drive before he got his official last drive, because he ended up throwing a pick six. But that last drive went 8 yard sack, 6 yard rush, and it's 3rd and 12. And I like Broncos defense, no fly zone 2.0, gives up a 14-yard backside out route to Elijah Moore, and I was like, "There's no way they're gonna walk me up by a field goal," because I think they were only up, I don't know, like two or something. And I'm like, "There's no way I'm gonna get walked off by a field goal," and I'm gonna cry, and all my boys are gonna laugh at me. And then Jameis throws a throws an outright that's a little too far behind, and I think it was Jaleel McLaughlin or some corner
Yeah.
who I will defend with his honor for my life, because he jumped the pass, he jumped up, landed on his backside, got up and scored it, and I'm like, oh, dude! And then it was even more funny because now they get the ball back down 2 scores, and Jameis gets all the way down to like the 15, and then throws a pick like on the goal line. I'm like, yes! And all my boys FaceTime me, and we're all in a group call, and we're all like crying, and I'm like, yippee! Because you always love the sweat and the adrenaline that comes with having the extra skin in the game, and
Yeah.
and
No, there was this dude that was on the Pistons that ended up going to the Knicks,
mhm,
and he was on a couple other teams. I forget his fucking name, but my buddy was like, "Dude, you have to just bet his over every fucking time." He's a 3-point shooter, and his over under would it would always be between 9.5 and 11.5.
yeah,
And the guy would consistently just get 12, and like he would get like 4 3-pointers, and once in a while he would go to the free throw line.
yeah,
And like literally, like me and my buddy like fucking bet on him almost every fucking game, and he probably hit at like a 70% hit.
mhm.
And I I ended up at one point tweeting him and was like at the end of the season being like, I think I owe you like a gift basket. Because of your overs.
That's
Um
funny.
and speaking of bad beats, dude, years ago, when I was running a fantasy football league back, this was probably close to 15 years ago.
Mhm.
Uh, so I didn't have a rule for ties, right? And it was the playoffs, and two guys tied, and so we had to make up a rule on the fly that was fair to everyone. Because we even had decimal points, and then like you thought like there would be no chance that there would actually be a fucking tie.
For points?
So yes,
That's
for total points.
insane.
So, the game ended, and they're like, "Well, who advances?" And I was like, "They're like, they suggested like your bench." And I shut that down because I'm like, to me, I'm like, okay, like you didn't start those guys, so you
You're
shouldn't
right. You're not
get
getting
benched.
credit. Right.
Um, so, um, so they're all right. We got to come up with like a very neutral thing here.
Mhm.
So the Knicks and Nets were ended up playing that night. So I had them give me the total score of the game, and whoever was closest would win in fantasy
That's
football. So
awesome.
my buddy, with a couple seconds left, Jason Kidd misses. He misses 2 free throws. He's like a 90% free throw shooter. Misses 2 free throws, and he ends up losing. So I think he is the first and only person to ever lose a fantasy football playoff game on a basketball game.
That's awesome. That
So
is so
then,
creative.
yeah, so the new rule after that was whoever's defense scored most, because everyone knows defense wins championships, and
Right.
everyone knows that in fantasy defense is probably the most random position in your lineup in a standard fantasy football lineup, that or a kicker. So,
Yeah.
we were going with the defense, whoever's defense would advance from there on forward. But yeah, my buddy, to this day, he still knows that Jason Kidd, messed up his fantasy football season
Yeah. That's awesome.
as a 90% free throw shooter.
It's always those high percentage free throw shooters when they showed the graphic right before they shoot. It's like, oh well,
Mhm.
he's missing one.
Oh,
Um.
and this will be funny because people, when I say Jason Kidd in that's a Knicks game, most people would probably be like, "Oh, he was on the Nets." He was actually on the Knicks when this happened.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I want your take as we enter the last. How many games do we have left in the baseball season? 3 games.
Three,
Now,
three.
if when the season ends on Monday, right? I think all games are done on Monday, or is it Sunday?
Sunday,
Sunday.
Sunday. Yeah,
When the season ends, who would you give the MVP to in the American League? Because
Aaron,
for huh
Aaron Judge,
over
100% Judge.
Cal,
What's Cal's average? 260.
that's a great question. Because I'm sure you saw he hit 60 home runs the other night.
Yeah. Yeah, because the over-under on the betting apps is 62.5.
If he hits 63, okay. Cal Raleigh is batting 347. He is first in home
Cal
run
347?
247.
247. I thought you said 347. I
Oh,
was like,
that's
okay, well, they can give it to the motherfucker.
yeah. He's first in home runs, second in RBIs, third in OPS, and third in total bases. While Judge, who's known as a power hitter, his like I don't think I've ever seen somebody and coming from a casual baseball guy, I've started watching, over the past, like 5 6 years. No one, in my opinion, is hitting with as power and for average like Judge is. Like Judge is first in batting average at 330, seventh in home runs, fifth. Or he's seventh in RBIs, fourth in home runs, fifth in hits, which is insane. Second in
Yeah.
runs scored, first in OPS, second in total bases, second in base on balls, and he's one behind
How many home
Juan
runs does
Soto.
Judge have?
Judge has 51.
Yeah, I'm giving it to Judge. I mean, look at the average. Like, obviously average isn't
As valued as it used to
as
be.
high. Yes, and so I mean, he's 90 points ahead,
Hmm.
almost, or 80, 83 points ahead. That's crazy. Like you're gonna tell me that Cal Raleigh's gonna win the MVP, and this dude just because he has what 9 more home runs than Judge, like.
Yeah, I
I,
think
I
he's
think
the.
I think it's judged by like I mean he is the best player in the league. Like you got to give it to the best player, right? Just because you broke I think did Riley break the AL record for home runs,
No,
or he's pretty close.
he's still three behind because Judge hit 63. So um
Okay,
he's the
it's
fourth player he's the fourth player in American League history to hit 60 in a season. It's Babe
okay.
Ruth, Cal Raleigh, Judge, and some older player that is slipping my mind.
Because if he he'll get Cal Raleigh will probably get the Silver Slugger
Hmm.
award, I would think. Yeah, and give Judge the MVP. Simple as that.
It's going to be really interesting because we're really going to see this year. It more, because especially doing it from a catcher position, it's just super taxing because
Hmm.
and when I've seen clips of players talk about Cal Raleigh and stuff like that to where not that they're comparing him to Shohei, but it's like no one, and especially none of the players, have thought like anyone could physically do this due to how physically
Yeah.
demanding the catcher position is. It just wears you down over the course of a year, and he passed Mickey Mantle for most home runs by a switch hitter. He broke the catcher home run record. There's just a lot of things that you could make the case for both guys. If you want the complete hitting package, then you go with Judge, or if you want someone who's having a historic record-breaking season. And I'm not saying that Judge isn't, because he's having one of like he was the MVP when he hit 63. What, 2 years ago?
Yeah.
He won the MVP when he hit 63 home runs 2 years ago, and you could make an argument he's been better, from an overall hitting perspective this year. So I don't know. It's going to be really interesting to see who gets the final nod, or
What's
because
funny about baseball is like for MVP at least,
mm-hmm,
they only really take in consideration one side of the ball, right? So like
yeah,
your defense, like it doesn't really seem to play a factor into the MVP, you know, conversation
right,
unless you're Shohei where you actually pitch.
yeah,
No one cares about your fielding percentage or your outs or your putouts or
save
your
expected
assists.
runs, or yeah, all that
Yeah,
jazz.
shit like that.
Uh
And
huh.
so if you're going strictly from offensive, yeah, Cal Raleigh has had a phenomenal year, but I think you have to give it to Judge because, like I said, dude, you still have to value batting average. I don't
Right.
understand why people don't. And it kind of pisses me off as like a baseball enthusiast. Like I don't want to just always see like home runs. I want to see like guys hitting the gap or situational hitting or oh they put a little shift on me. I can bunt or hit it down the third base line where there's a huge gap,
Mhm.
and people don't do that anymore. People are too scared of getting, either hit into a double play or they just don't have the skill to because of the launch angle and all that, and they'd rather strike out, which I find ridiculous. Like we talked about the Tigers striking out 19 times the other day. That's unacceptable. Like Jesus Christ. Like I think there was probably a year that Tony Gwynn didn't strike out an entire year at 19 times.
Right.
And the guys like that aren't even valued anymore, and it's crazy to me. So,
Mhm.
but I would have to go with Judge. Um, it does help that Seattle is a good team this year.
Mhm.
But I think he's got to be the front runner, and I would think that is probably going to win it. As far as Cy Young, I know there's a couple guys that
Dude,
are at the top
it's
with
really
school.
tight.
Uh, Garrett Crochet's having a great season, or however you say his last name.
Christopher
Um,
Sanchez is
and
in there too.
yeah, mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a couple of them, so that one's not as clear cut, but I think the MVP is clear cut Aaron Judge.
Yeah, to to move to Cy Young because your man's is in there,
Mm-hmm.
and I was doing some looking ahead, and he is the probable pitcher to pitch on Sunday, and because I remember him and Garrett Crochet. I'm just checking strikeout numbers. I remember for a long time they were just back and forth for strikeouts. Um, uh, of course I pick a team that that doesn't have a probable pitcher. Yeah, Crochet is 14 ahead of Scooble. He's second in win loss. He's got five more wins. What when it comes to Cy Young, what do you look for? K's batting average, ERA, wins. I mean, wins losses are kind of a a toss up because you look at Paul Skeens, who's probably who should win it this year.
Right. Yeah, I would look at ERA, I would
Mhm.
look at WHIP, and I
Mhm.
would look at strikeouts. Those are the three the and maybe opponent batting average,
Yeah.
somewhere in there, but like wins used to be a thing like where I remember as a kid it seemed like the Cy Young would always have around 20 wins or like
Mhm.
the most wins in the league. And back then when I didn't fully understand like, oh, okay, you could pitch dominantly, but I think it was the dude from Seattle, Felix Hernandez. I think
King
he was the
Felix.
first Cy Young winner that I saw that had a losing record. I think he had like a 12-13 record, and it was a big deal at the time. They're like, oh man, he's got a losing record, but I think he may have been very close to the pitching Triple Crown. What is
Yeah.
that? ERA,
ERA.
strikeouts, and wins.
Yeah.
Is that wins? Is wins? Well, he was dominating in ERA and strikeouts, and they're like, well, do we give it to a guy that had a losing record? And I believe they ended up doing it, and
Mhm.
it was a big deal. And that's why I was like, I realized, yeah, if you lose every game 1 or 2-0 or 2-1, like you pitched your ass off, and it was your offense that couldn't do anything for you. So
Mhm.
wins, I think, like I said, in the Nerfy segment, we always say wins don't fucking matter. Win loss record doesn't matter because it really doesn't. Like it doesn't
Mhm.
reflect on how well the pitcher pitched that day. Um, so I think you have to go with, like I said, ERA is obviously a big one. WHIP and strikeouts,
Mhm.
especially nowadays with strikeouts numbers being elevated to a point they're they're consistent with the amount of innings pitched now.
Yeah.
You used to have like a lot of 300 strikeout pitchers, but they would go much deeper in the game, so you don't get that as much nowadays. But for the innings pitched, it's still right up there because there's more strikeouts than ever in baseball because people just, like I said, don't care about putting the ball in play. They would rather just take the one out than risk putting something in play and getting a double play or whatever, which, there's always the, you know, air of the fielder or, the ball could take a funny hop or, it could be a nibbler off your bat and, you beat it out or whatever, broken bat single. Like there's so many things that could happen if you put the ball in play, but it's just not valued anymore.
Yeah, and it's really interesting when analytics start to become a real big thing in baseball. When it is now valued more to, oh, swing for the fences. It doesn't really matter if you strike out.
Hmm. What are the odds of Javi Baez winning the MVP?
Let's look.
Plus 2 million?
I don't even
Because
think he. I
I
don't.
might put $1 on that.
I don't even think he's in the top 50, maybe 100.
Yeah,
But yeah, like it's
he's
really,
probably not even in the top 100, dude.
dude.
He's probably not listed.
Right when I thought about it, I'm like,
He's
go ahead.
he's a wrong candidate. Like when you go to vote and you're like, I don't like either of these people, so I'm just
Other.
gonna write in Javi Baez.
That's hilarious. It really, because I think Casey Mize is pitching today, and going up against the Red Sox, they were an explosively red hot team just a couple weeks ago, and
Hmm.
now it's kind of getting a little, you can kind of clench your teeth a little bit when it comes to the Tigers' postseason hopes of even just making it. Now,
Yeah.
if the season were to end today, they'd be the last. They would edge out whoever's behind them.
Who the Tigers?
Yeah, if the season ends
The
today,
Houston
that
Astros.
yeah, the Astros are. I think they have a 1 game lead. Let me just double check on all my
Yeah,
stuff.
it's like the Astros need to win like one more game than the Tigers in the final stretch.
Oh, so yeah, the Tigers are 86-73, and they are 1 game ahead of the Astros. Now, it's really interesting due to for as bad as they played against the Guardians and over like their last 15 games,
Hmm.
they can still win the division. They just need Cleveland to drop one,
They
two
they could
games.
win the division, and it looks like most likely we might be playing Cleveland in the first round.
Dude,
So
when I was looking it up, I was like, if the Tigers get in, they're probably gonna play Cleveland again, which I don't know if
yeah,
that's a good thing or bad thing, but
right.
you know,
I mean,
seeing
it just the laws of averages for baseball seem, it would seem like it would tilt back towards the Tigers' favor because, like it's hard to be dominant over one team in baseball, right? Like
yeah,
completely dominant, and the Cleveland has been that, at least for the last 10 days. They've won 5 out of 6, I believe.
mm,
And so hopefully that would be the one saving grace for the Tigers. Otherwise, we're gonna get our fucking asses whooped. And just like last year, the Cleveland bounced us. We're gonna fucking Stephen Kwan, dude. Stephen Kwan is like that dude. I resent him to a point that I respect him. Like it's like I'm like, dude, stop killing us. Like he's probably a nut. Like he just seems like a very nice guy, but he just fucking murders the Tigers all the time. Like there's been guys, in the history of like Detroit sports, or especially the Tigers, that are like Tiger killers that I fucking hate. I actually don't fucking hate Stephen Kwan. I'm just like, dude, why are you so good? Just like Bobby Witt Jr., like he fucking just dominates the Tigers.
mm,
Like if when they play the Kansas City, you can lock in Bobby Witt Jr. for at least two total bases every game and probably hit every single time for, if you're on your betting app. Same with Stephen Kwan. It's like, dude, like the guy goes like, he gets 2 hit. It seems like he gets 2 hits a game against us, and he always hits a double or gets some, big hit. I mean, of course, Jose Ramirez kills us too,
mm.
but like it's Stephen Kwan that like sets the table for them, and it's if at least against us, and we're like, man, just go back to California where you're from, dude.
I think
Stay away from us.
stay away from us. I think Steven Kwan and Luis Arias from the Padres, those are the two best two-strike batters I've seen over
Yeah.
like the past 3 years. It seems if those two guys, they're impossible to strike out. They're always making contact with the ball,
Mhm.
even if it's the latest swing you've ever seen in your life. They're
Right.
just making contact to stay alive, drive up pitch counts, and you hate that if you have like your dominant ace on the mound. It's like, God, it seems like every at
Right.
bat it's a 7-8 pitch at bat.
Well, you make a good point too, because both of them usually you have a very high average, especially a rise, right? And the more pitches you see, it becomes in favor of the batter. So like
100%.
they're literally just making waiting for either their timing to get right or the pitcher to make a mistake. And usually the pitcher makes a mistake and they get on. So that even proves my point. If you could put the bat on the ball, good things can happen, especially if you drive that pitch count up and you see more pitches, you're more likely to put one in play and in a hard hit ball somewhere where you can get on. I just it really does baffle me that like batting average is not looked upon as like something that's valued. It's unbelievable. Like I'm like, okay, like yeah, you can hit all the home runs you want, but like, I get that's instant runs, but like if you have nobody on, if it's just solo shots or whatever, like I guess chicks dig the long ball, right? I don't know, man. I just
Chicks dig the long ball.
I don't understand the philosophy of it, but it's
Hmm.
to me as like a baseball fan, like it to me it watered down the game and it's like the NBA how like when they just start jacking up threes, yeah, analytically like yeah, that's I guess the better shot because these guys are so good at shooting, if you're going to a high school game, yeah, you're going to want your layups and going to the free throw line and driving to the hole and shit because you're not as good. But I guess yeah, when you get to that level and you're just popping threes, unfortunately for me, and I'm guessing I'm not the only fan out there that thinks this way, but it makes the game boring.
Yeah. Now to uh to go from one baseball question to the next, entering this last series, how confident are you? Because you guys have the Red Sox on the road, while Cleveland is hosting the Rangers. So
Uh,
how and the Astros who are chasing you guys, they're at home, but they're facing against. Oh, my bad. They're on the road against the Angels.
so the Angels blow, right? So the I mean, what are you like as far as confidence level? What are you
Make
talking about? Tigers
make
making the playoff?
Yeah, making it, whether it be catching the Guardians, or just squeaking into
I'm
the playoffs.
I'm confident that they'll make the playoffs.
Mhm.
I'm not confident that they'll beat Cleveland, or at least beat them in the standings.
Mhm.
But they have to win. I think the Tigers' magic number is one. I think they only need it. It depends. Did Houston win last night?
They did.
Okay,
They beat the
so
they beat the brakes off the Athletics.
okay, so um, yeah, I think because essentially the Astros have to win at least two games
Mhm.
to get in the playoffs. So the Tigers essentially have to win one to put pressure on them. They should make the playoffs. Um, but I'm in preparation to write an article of the biggest collapse in sports history, and the Tigers are going to be on that list. So I am preparing for that mentally.
Mhm.
Um, but they should get in. Like I mean they need to win basically one game to put some pressure on the Astros as long as they are even because they got the one game up
Mhm.
and I think they own the tiebreaker. So even if we went 1-2 and they went 2-1, we would still make the playoffs. I mean, basically got to win one game, and Astros can't sweep, right? So we're looking for one Astros loss and one Tigers win. I'll
Mhm.
take that. But, for the fact that we had a 15 and a half game lead at one point, and now that it's this, yeah, it's not very comfortable. But, I guess at the beginning of the season, if you'd asked me if I would take the scenario, yeah, I would take the scenario.
Uh
But if you asked me July 8th, I'd be like, dude, get the fuck out of here. We're gonna win 120 games.
right. Um,
Like,
if this team, oh, continue.
no, that's all.
Yeah, yeah. If this team misses the playoffs, would you call for AJ Hinch's job?
No, I would call for Scott Harris's job, the GM.
Yeah.
Like it's because AJ Hinch, like, I mean, AJ Hinch has proved with I told you from the beginning of this show of the Legends Clubhouse, I've told you the beginning. I didn't think the Tigers were a World Series contender, and I was like, they even if they when they had the best record in baseball and all this, it was like, okay, they seem like a hot team that's aggressive, that has been getting timely hitting and stuff. Well, what happens when all that goes away? You don't have a dude. You don't have your guy to you don't have your Jose Ramirez that you can lean on, or you don't have your name your fucking superstar. Yeah, we had 6 all-stars. Zach McKinstry is not an all-star. I'm sorry. He had a
Right.
great first half of the year. He's not an all-star. Javi Baez, not an all-star. Maybe a few, before he was a Tiger for like a year or two. Not now. He had good 2 months of baseball or whatever. Um, Torkelson had a nice year. Riley Green, even though he's leading the league, I think in strikeouts, I think he hit his 36th home run yesterday. That should be a career high. And then Kerry Carpenter, he's above 25 home runs as well. So you have certain pieces, but the guy, like, literally, he fucking Scott Harris farted in the elevator at the trade deadline. Let's just fucking call like I mean, let's just call it what you see it, man. Like
Right.
I know like we talked about the other day. I don't know if my buddy made a good point. Like I don't know if he thought they actually had a World Series contender and they were like, no, we're set. We'll just see how it goes. We don't want to give up any prospects. But the fact is that I think it was Seattle that ended up getting Suarez.
Hmm.
They got him for nothing. They get him for nothing. So don't tell me that you would have to, give up a top prospect to get somebody to effectively go into your lineup right away. Even though Suarez, I know he started off slow. I don't know how he ended up
He
the
just
second
hit.
half of the
Oh, I'm
season.
sorry. Continue.
Go ahead. No,
He
chime in.
he just hit his 49th home run, which ties a career high last night.
Yeah,
So there's a good chance he
yeah,
hits 50.
yeah.
And
So
guess what?
it's like,
This Tigers team, that to me, they're a JAT. There are acronyms for like Jags, just a guy, and this
mhm,
team is a JAT. They're just a team. Like
yeah,
there's not your overpowering, and not to say overpowering is a bad thing, but you don't have your one. And I don't want to compare anybody on the Tigers team to like an Aaron Judge, because Aaron Judge is one of the best. Well, he's a top 3 player in the sport, but you don't have like a top 25 guy that it's
you don't
okay.
have
You
anyone that's feared in your lineup.
None. You have a lot of just solid players, but
Hmm.
example, R- Riley Green swings for the fences every at bat. Kerry Carpenter only plays against righties. Like there's no one on your team. I think they're last in just steals. Now I think they're one of the best teams in the league of getting extra bases, like
Yeah.
going from first to third or second to home.
Hmm.
In that aspect, but I think if this team seriously wants to make a run, and I think once again there's still time, because once again it's baseball, anything can happen when you put the bat
Yeah.
on the ball. I think a lot of it comes from their confidence at home, because it seems as if when they're at Comerica Park, their confidence it oozes, and I don't know if it's you know they're gonna have to be they must, what if there is a switch, turn it on, and it's gonna be
Yeah.
really hard for them to do that because of how ice cold they've been. When you have
Oh,
the
absolutely.
when you have the best pitcher in the game, can you give them 2 runs? Can you give them
Yeah.
3 runs? And it's been a struggle
And
bus over the past month.
and if they lose that Scooble start, it's pretty much over, right? Like you need that start because you don't have the consistency outside of it. Scott Harris goes to get a couple bullpen arms. I think two of them, I want to say two of them didn't play hasn't played as a Tiger. Like what are you doing? Like you traded for two guys that end up not playing the rest of the year. He DFA'd one in Chris Paddock, I believe. Or no, Charlie Morton.
Yep.
Charlie Morton got DFA'd.
78
Chris
year old
Paddock
chart. Yep.
he got moved to the bullpen because his starts weren't good. You go to the Minnesota Twins and get a guy with a 5 ERA. yeah, and then literally one dude has panned out, and it's I think his name's Rafael Montero.
Yeah,
I
from the
don't know.
Braves.
Yeah, I'm not sure if that's his first name. I might be butchering
Yeah,
his name, but he's been lights out. The rest of them, who the fuck are who are you getting? Like, you didn't get a top 10 guy that was available, and like people are like, oh well, who are you gonna go get, dude? You could make a deadline deal with a team that may have not have had a guy on the trade block. Like, go call people and ask. And there was reports that Scott Harris is kind of a pain to deal with. So like teams might be hesitant to even pick up the phone when he's calling. So
hmm
it's it, to me, dude, you didn't do enough at the deadline. You had the best record in baseball. We've talked about this before. The rich get richer. You will find a way to put someone in your lineup, and it's almost like the two quarterbacks thing. Like, if you have two quarterbacks, you have no quarterbacks. If
right.
you don't have a fucking solid lineup, and you have to like puzzle piece things this together, and you don't have a good lineup. You could be like I said, you could have AJ Hinch's magician ability at manager, but sometimes that magic's gonna run out, and
hmm
sometimes it's not gonna work. When it works, he looks like a genius. When it doesn't work, you're like, okay, we need more talent.
Right.
So
And to back your point, there's always a deal to be made. That's why whenever and this is not just a MLB thing, across all sports, it never hurts to call a GM or call a front office and just
mhm.
say, "Hey," and as long as you're not a douche or a dick,
Yeah,
they'll pick up the phone and shoot the shit with you to the point to where, oh, this team's not looking to trade. Let me call and just to see and spitball ideas, because
right,
you never know. There's always a deal to be made for. Now there are certain guys that are untouchable, but we're not talking about calling up the Yankees for Aaron Judge or Cody
right.
Bellinger, or we're not calling the Mariners for Luis Castillo or anybody along
Or,
those
or
lines.
Julio Rodriguez, or you get it. But so, like for example, like at the deadline, the Guardians weren't a player. I think the Guardians were the third in the Central,
hmm
and like, dude, why not call for my man Stephen Kwan? I'm not gonna shut up about this guy because he bats around 300,
Yeah,
and it would have been a perfect fit here. He's great defensively,
awesome.
and I know it's a division rival, and you might have to give up something, and you might have to give up something that's like, okay, this guy might burn us in the future, but
hmm
hey, you got a shot, man. Just like I said, like if they were to win the World Series, you trade Scooble in the winter meetings. You're like, okay, see ya. You're not Scooble's not re-signing here. I'm afraid, I would be shocked if Scooble was re-signed with the Tigers after next season. And for the fact that of the matter is that you're probably, his, between the agent and the GM and everyone in the organization, you probably got a feel of if he's staying here or not
hmm
already. So if you don't trade him in the winter meetings, we're going to trade him at the deadline. At the deadline, you're going to get pennies on the dollar. You might as well ride him out next year, and then you're going to get nothing for him. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's it's going to be interesting in what they do in the offseason / next year, because especially if they're a seller at the deadline with this current team, I could totally see that because, well, look at last year. People remember the hot run, but people forget how fucking bad they were before that.
Dude, Scooble was the diamond in the rough, and
Yeah.
whenever you have one of the best players in baseball, and without a doubt Scooble, even if you were to include take pictures out of it, he's one of the best players in baseball. When
Hmm.
you have one of the best players, I'm not saying you need to appease to his every will. However, you have to just you don't even have to do things for him. You have to do things around him to make him believe that
Yeah.
okay, one of the best things that it's going to be interesting to see. What do the Pirates do around Paul Skeens? They could offer him $1 billion.
Right.
Now he'll probably take the deal. However, it's,
Yeah.
do I want to win? What are they like? You can make small moves around. That's like see, Mister, the Scooby Man. You need
Hmm.
you need you know we are invested in you and in this team, and we want to, we're going to make a trade for this guy or at least going to be in the running. Because at the deadline, it seemed like they weren't really in on anybody either. Like
Right.
when there were teams attached to, players, it's not, oh, Detroit's in on this guy and this guy and this guy. When it
Right.
seems like every year it's like, the Yankees and the Dodgers, they're in on this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, and this
Yeah.
guy.
Exactly. Yeah, you make a great point. Yeah, they weren't even in the conversation. And with a guy like Skeens and an organization like Pittsburgh, it's like, okay, even if they throw the bag at him, right, and he's making a shit ton of money, $500 million, losing takes a toll, man. Like, do are you there like just to do a job? If you are, then that's great. Have your bag and just go back to your family and don't care. You can compete, but you're never going to compete for a World Series, and you're just going to basically do your 9 to 5 and wait until you retire, right?
And there's nothing wrong with that.
Or
We get it.
right, there's nothing wrong with that, but or you could be like, all right, well, I could take a little less and actually win. I could be part like Scooble. If I was School, I'd be like, oh wait, I can go to 29 other teams and they actually have a rotation. Okay, they don't have a bunch of dudes on IR. Then and fucking, we're not doing bullpen days for 4 days and then me. Okay, we can do that.
And
I can
now
go in a rotation. Go in a rotation with Max Fried and
Carlos Rodon, and when
yeah,
Garrett Cole comes back next year.
yeah, I can do that. That sounds good to me.
Dude, it's going to be so hard because obviously when you lose a great player like that, it's gonna break. I'm not saying it's gonna break the city, but it would genuinely just be a kick in. It would be a kick in the groin for Tigers fans across. Because like, damn, we had him, and we built him up, and then he left.
Dude, imagine we talked about like Skeens going to Detroit at the deadline, right? Like,
Right,
people are talking about that.
just kicking the
Um,
can.
you Yeah. Imagine if it was reversed. What if Scooble signs with the Pirates and they
Oh
they
my,
just put $1 billion into 2 players and that's all they have? They have Scoobs and Skeens.
bro.
It could be like have a little fuck. You know how like okay, I'm sure you've been to sporting events.
Yeah,
On the big screen, like during between the innings or between the quarters, they have like their little things. They could have like Scoobs and Skeens cartoons. They could make them into like two like name your animal. The two bears like
dude.
Yogi Bear, and they could have a little cartoon.
I'm gonna be honest. If those two
That's a
fuck
great idea.
That is, but if those two fuckers ever end up, or if Scooble ever ends up on a team with a pitcher as almost as good as Paul Skeens is, his big ass will be doing fucking backflips all around the diamond. Like
Dude,
he,
I mean,
it's
it, it-
insane.
I wonder if you could successfully build a team with like take the Pittsburgh Pirates because they're a perfect example because they're a small market team. You pay two pitchers, right? You pay Skeens and you play Scooble, and like then the rest of your philosophy is exactly how it is normally, right? And you bring up prospects and whatever. I wonder if they would have a legit shot of a World Series because essentially you have two pitchers that are, should give you a win every time they're out.
Yeah,
So, and then other pitchers in your rotation, they're not going to lose every game, so they're going to sprinkle in some wins. So like,
yeah.
you know, say if both of them get 30 starts a year. That's 60 starts out of 162.
So they win 40 of
So
those games.
that's 40% of your games or so. So say you win 60 games because of them two. And then, you just have to sprinkle some more in. Or not 60, not 60. Say you win 40 of those 60 games.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
So
Yeah,
then you win 40 games between your other three pitchers. That might not be
it's really
I
in
might have to do that on MLB The Show. I might have to test some theory.
just to try it. Yeah, because like once again, it would be awesome if Scuba was a Tiger for life, because when you have those all-time great players, it's what you want. You essentially want to
Mhm.
draft your guy and hold on to them until they retire. Um,
That's not a thing anymore.
it's it sucks because it seems as if that era is over. Um,
Mhm.
but it's
Now
it,
let's get your fam.
and guess what? There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it. Is it going to piss off the fan base? 110%. Are you going to get booed when you trot out there, when you make your return? Some players do, and some players are like, we appreciate the things that you did here.
Right.
It
I'm wondering, do you think Javi Baez is gonna get booed in Detroit after his contract's up?
They might do what Cleveland did to LeBron and throw batteries at him. like,
Dude, because like
hold
I
on.
think
What was his
Javi,
contract? What was the contract y'all gave him?
I think he okay, so it was something funky where they gave him like 6 years, but after the second year, he could opt out after every year, um, if he had a good year.
Okay, so he signed
It
a
was like the worst contract in baseball because it gave him all the power.
He signed a 6-year, $140 million in December 2021, which included a opt-out after the 2023 season declined and a 10-team no-trade clause.
Yeah,
Bro, what? Shit,
like he.
he's making 25 million. I could swing and miss it at shit for 25, dog. 25 big ones.
But I think like okay, so name me a different athlete. Name me another athlete, any sport that the fans want him to be good. That like Detroit fans they love Javi Baez when he's good. They hate him when he we just want him to be good. Like if and like it's like everyone's rooting for him, but like then he swings at a pitch 15 feet outside, and you're like, what are you doing? I just want you to be good. Like people root for him, but like yeah, it's like most people, obviously there's people that are like, what the fuck are you swinging at and all this shit, but like I think he's probably the most I don't know. I don't know how to word it. The most hated, but like people want to love him.
The most lated.
Um,
We gotta get that on shirts.
how-
Lated. The most
yeah,
lated player.
it's like I don't know, man. I wouldn't be able to name a different another one, dude. Because he's a
Uh,
like guy. He looks like he just has that baseball player look.
oh,
He just
I just
looks
thought of
like a
one.
ball player.
I just thought of one.
Who?
Anthony Richardson. Colts fans wanted him to be great. Only problem is he sucks. But
Like,
when he
but
makes
is
these
he like a likable guy?
yeah, he's a really nice dude off the field.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, a lot of one of the and this isn't one of the I assume this is one of the reasons why teams started to fall in love with him. Like from reports before he got drafted, he interviewed well. And after the combine, he stayed and helped pick up like trash and stuff that was left by a lot of the other players that kind of made the waves on the social media of like, oh, he was raised right, and he just kind of has like the people love him. Another player, Justin Fields, because Justin Fields,
Yeah.
he's shown flashes of great. Only thing is, he's still inconsistent. But once again, I love me some Justin Fields. I loved him when he was on my
Yeah.
team, and I wish we would have. Sorry, Russ, your shit's done. It's Justin Fields' job.
Yeah, but I think Justin Fields is more of a better comparison just because Anthony Richardson never did it. Like
Yeah,
he was never he hasn't been good yet. So like yeah,
yeah, that's a good
Justin
point.
Fields has flashes and Baez at one point was good,
Yeah.
or at least shown flashes of being, El Mago.
Well, it's almost
Um
8:30, so you know what time it is.
yeah, dude, my Nerfy got blown up because I picked the Rockies last time. Out of shits and gigs. But I'm gonna end the season with a winner
Okay.
here. So let's
Yo,
end on a winner.
I forgot this
And
is the last one because there's no games on Monday. Well, for the regular
it
season.
is. It is. We're just doing the
Yo,
regular season. And
pl-
we gotta mark up our records.
playoff
Um,
nerfies are gonna go crazy.
Playoff Nerfies might like usually they don't have juice on them, but usually they hit.
No, but
So,
hey,
uh, but I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with my Tigers. I gotta go with them. The last game of the season, I'm gonna go with Casey Mize versus the Boston Red Sox. Mize has a 14-6 record,
which is kind of
3.9
insane.
ERA. Huh?
Which is kind of insane that
Yeah,
he's seventh.
he yeah.
He's seventh in the MLB in wins.
131 strikeouts versus Kyle Harrison. He's a lefty. He's 1-1 with a 3.58 ERA with 32 strikeouts. We'll go Tigers, Red Sox. Let's go.
Dude, excuse me, I remember when Kyle Harrison was on the Giants before he got traded, and there were a couple times where I bet on him. His biggest thing is command. And speaking of command, while I look, I'm just gonna yap. Jack Flaherty is the most wasteful pitcher when it comes to pitches. He does not look for contact. Period. He'll throw shit 4 feet off the plate, and I'm like, brother, they're not swinging. Like, I don't know why you're wasting these pitches, dog. I call him Mr. 5 2/3 for a reason. Like,
I know.
like, for my last one, there might not be much juice on this one, but give me the Twins and the Phillies. Now it's Joe Ryan versus Aaron Nola. Joe Ryan has a 13-9 record. He has 185 Ks on the year, a 3.47 ERA, and a WHIP of 1.04, and allowing a 218 batting average versus Aaron Nola, who I don't know what the hell happened to him. Last year he was a beast. The year before he was a beast, and this year he's just been up and down. Now he has had a couple, injuries that's had him miss, big chunks, but I still think